Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile 125 for the Superior Class Auto Racing ARCA Series here at Dover International Speedway. Getting ready for 125 laps, 125 miles around this high-banked concrete 1 mile oval. Gonna be a good time. Practice just about done, about 4 minutes left in the session. Let's head on down and take a look at the score time here. Of course, as soon as we go down to pit lane to see what's going on, I believe they're in the middle of their drivers' meeting. They may go back out for a couple more laps, but as it sits, take a look at the times. Cody Harger, top on the board again, 23.33. Will Jones, a couple hundredths back. Will Hewitt, a couple hundredths back. Neil Quick, a couple hundredths back. Real tight times in the top four. Brian Rose sits fifth, about 3/4 of a tenth behind the top time. Bobby Jr., I mean, all these times are real close. We're a tenth of a second all the way to ninth position. Eddie Rose on the pole once again, in the stream chat, that is. What's going on, Eddie? Saying, let's get that hateful chicken a-crowing. You know what? It's not a bad idea. Let's do it. That one just for Eddie Rose. Hateful chicken ad. He wanted to hear that rooster crow, so we hit the commercial button. Minute left in practice, though. Cody Harger still fastest. I think at this point, everybody is pretty much settled into what kind of time they're going to be able to lay down in qualifying. Hateful Chicken checking into the stream chat. Hashtag THC for the Hateful Chicken, among other things. Terry Ansley ready for some racing. Got Melinda cheering on Bobby, always. I love you guys. I got so many stream chat people on here. I don't get that anywhere else but here. Qualifying underway. Cody Harger, first car on the track. Cody, the number 66, Plasmine Technologies, Toyota Camry. Taking the green flag. Maybe this is lap 1. First time lap for the 66. Ooh, little wiggle off turn 2. Car looking pretty loose off turns 2 and 4. First lap for Harger, a 23.44. Puts him top of the board so far. Carson Conway cheering in. Stream chat. Not behind the wheel tonight for reasons unknown. Lap 2 for Cody Harger. Crosses the line. Checks in a 23.41. Improvement by the 66, but Brian Rose goes to the top with a 20.40. Meanwhile, Will Jones, a 23.39, knocks Brian Rose off the top spot. Justin Napier in the number 54 Hateful Chicken Machine. First lap for Justin, 23.52. Real loose off turn number 2, saves it. Still in the gas, going to give it a go, try to improve on that lap 1 time. Lap 2 at 23.49 does pick up the pace from his first lap. Still going to sit 9th on the grid. Jeff Napier still to take his qualifying attempt. Not sure if he's even going to. Jeff always working a strategy of some form or another. It might just be, you know what, I'm going to sit out back and see what happens. These cars are a handful to drive, especially here at Dover. Not a whole lot of grip. And Garza checking in. Of course, rooting on the Hateful Chicken Boys, the 16 and the 54, Hamilton and Justin Napier. Still about a minute and a half officially remaining in the session. Jeff can take his laps now if he wants to. Mark Truxall, same situation. Mark not even in the car. Not really sure. Both these guys may just be foregoing qualifying and just going to start out back. Mark Truxall kind of seems to do that a lot of these races, but he's always around up front near the end. Beautiful sunny day here at virtual Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. Great day for a race. Again, 125 laps here around the Monster Mile 125. 125 laps, 125 miles, 73-degree air temperature, track temp about 107 right now. If it cools off, they might get a little bit more grip out of the racetrack, but we're just going to have to wait and see if cloud cover rolls in. Take a look at our starting grid for tonight. David Bradford, Holler Boys Racing. He's got 3 wins on the season so far. Maybe that's the Cup side. I'm getting my series confused. Either way, David Bradford on provisional on the official pole position. To his outside, Will Jones in the 56. These guys are kind of pseudo teammates. They were on the same team a year ago. Brian Rose, also of Holler Boys Racing, rolling off behind teammate David Bradford in the 3rd spot. Cody Harger with Charger Racing will roll off 4th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. 5th. Colt Ansley with Outcast Racing, he'll start from the 6th position. Will Hewitt, also teammate to Colt Ansley, rolls off from the 7th spot. Thomas McMullen, TCB Racing, will start 8th. Justin Napier, teammate, also TCB, will start 9th. Vincent Short of Holler Boys Racing will roll off from the 10th spot. Neil Quick in the number 2, he will roll off 11th. Neil was very quick, no pun intended, in the practice. Kind of surprised to see him that far back in the starting order. Alan DeFries is 12th, Mark Truxell is 13th, and Jeff Napier will start shotgun on the field in the 14th position. Down trackside here, pace car lights are off. We're going to start this race this time by. Green flag will be in the air. They're going to wait on the flagman. Pace car is in pit lane.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. David Bradford in the throttle. Will Jones as well. Great start by the front row. Field works off turn number 2 down the backstretch. So far, everybody cleanly off. David Bradford with a good advantage early on here off turn 4 to lead lap number 1. Teammate Brian Rose rolls into the 2nd spot. Off turn number 4, Brian Rose closing the gap a little bit on the 46, about 2 car lengths behind. Lap 5, Brian Rose actually almost a 10th quicker than the 46 of David Bradford. Gap now down to 1 car length with our top 2. 46 and 89 are teammates. Brian Rose and the 89 may just be following in the tire tracks of the 46. Try and learn something here early on at Dover. Difficult track to get a hold of in these ARCA cars. They slip and slide top to bottom. Field pretty well spread out, almost a half lap between first to last. Very minimum, at least a straightaway and a half. David Bradford maintaining that lead up to about 2.5 tenths of a second over the 89 of Brian Rose. So far, everything's clean and green here. 11 laps into the Monster Mile 125. Certainly a point of concern by all the drivers coming into tonight's events. Practice was a little hairy. Guys were loose off their corners, spinning it out all by themselves, not even really trying to make passes around each other, just trying to make single car runs and having difficulty hanging on. So far, they're doing a good job of it here 12 laps in. 46 and the 89, both running a little bit different line. We've seen that at some other tracks, especially in these ARCA cars. David Bradford comes in a little bit low, lets the car drift up into that middle lane, maybe half the middle lane. Brian Rose is actually working that low lane a little bit more, maybe half a car width below the 46. Be real interesting to see how this affects the tire wear as the afternoon goes on. Tires are going to be a big factor here at Dover. Series has seemingly picked a lot of tracks, at least on the ARCA side, that is very tire dependent as far as being able to save tires, make them last as long as possible without giving up too much pace. Does tend to favor the veteran drivers, but everybody else is starting to catch on. You see Brian Rose up there again, second place. Cody Harger, he's typically up near the front. Will Jones, same thing. These seem to be the top four that have managed to keep the pace while keeping the tire life underneath them. Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton Jr., a little bit of a distance back, maybe 10, 15 car lengths to the fifth spot. ARCA Series runs straight up races, no stage breaks, no halfway breaks. Just run what you brung to the finish. Obviously, if we have an incident on track that brings out a yellow flag, we'll get a break then, but so far that's not the case. We do have a battle here for the second position. Cody Harger slips underneath the 89 of Brian Rose. Looks like Will Jones is going to take advantage of that position as well. Move the 89 back to fourth. Will Jones up to third. About 18 laps in here at Dover, Delaware. The 89 seems like maybe those tires are starting to give up ever so slightly. We're right on board with the 89. See how he's working the corners, working the steering wheel. Brian not fighting the wheel very much, pretty smooth in through the corners. Out front, David Bradford continues to lead. Lap 21 of 125. 2 weeks ago at Nashville Fairgrounds, remember, David led all but I believe one lap of that entire race. So far from pole position at lap 22, he's working his way to try and do the same. Going to be interesting to see if he can pull it off. David Bradford has looked very strong in all series he's running in this year. A few wins on the Cup side. He's got some wins here on the ARCA side, and he's even got a win in the Road Course Series, the SCAR Sports Car Championship, running GT1 sports cars from the early 2000s. "24 laps in, let's try and go through the field here." Of course, David Bradford out front, looking very strong in the early going. Led every lap since the drop of the green flag, and that Holler Boys Racing TV, number 46, very familiar number for David Bradford, with some maybe unfamiliar colors, at least compared to previous seasons. Cody Harger running second, number 16, Plasmine Technologies Toyota Camry. Cody's up a couple of spots from where he started tonight's event. Started fourth, running in the second spot. Will Jones with the Nation's Guard number 56. Will started on the outside front row. He's dropped back one position to third. Brian Rose running fourth, the number 89 Two Blessings Thrift Store. Brian Rose of Holler Boys Racing started in the third spot, has slipped to fourth. Maybe he can rebound here after pit stops. Fresh tires will certainly make a world of difference. In the fifth position, Thomas McMullen in the O2 Murder Creek Distillery machine. Thomas out of Pensacola, Florida. Thomas is actually our biggest mover so far. He's up 3 positions, running fifth, started 8th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. not too far behind, a little wiggle from the 16 off the corner. The Hateful Chicken, number 16. Bobby Hamilton Jr. down 1 position from where he started tonight's race. Will Hewitt, number 33 in that Fiver Chevrolet. Will is running 7th, started 7th, just taking care of the car. It is early yet, no reason to push and burn up the tires unnecessarily. Will doing a good job out there. Justin Napier on the number 54 Hateful Chicken, the other Hateful Chicken entry. Justin is up 1 position, running 8th from where he started. He started 9th. Vincent Short, the number 15 Royal Crown throwback paint scheme. I think that's a Buddy Baker paint from back in the day. Vince is also up 1 position, running in the 9th spot, qualified 10th. Neil Quick, SCAR newcomer, ran really well at the last, I think it was a super late model race, ran 2nd, I believe, to Thomas McMullen. Good run going so far, going smooth for Neil Quick in that number 2 iRacing R&R Racewear machine. Cole Ansley is running at 11th right now, 5 spots back from where he started. Maybe some aggressive tire strategy, really saving the tires towards the end. Colt does run well here at these types of tracks, especially here at Dover, so don't be surprised to see the 86 near the front in that Rick Motec machine later on this afternoon. Mark Truxell in the number 5 machine usually has Little Tate's cupcakes on it, but he asked me to paint it for him, and I completely forgot. So my apologies, Mark. I'll try to get on that before the next one. Mark's running 12th, up 1 spot from where he started. Again, I do not believe he took a qualifying lap this afternoon. Alan DeFries in the 13th spot. You'll see him in just a second here. There he is, the number 71 Monster Energy entry, Silvis, Illinois. And running last, right now in the 14th position, Jeff Napier, the Superior Class Auto Racing TCB Motorsports number 40 machine. Jeff still running pretty clean. No damage on that car, just kind of running his race out back, saving those tires for later on. So that's your full field rundown here at Dover, Delaware, 33 laps into this afternoon's event. Through all that, David Bradford still your leader. Will Jones up to 2nd, but 2 full seconds back. Makes you wonder if the 46 is abusing those tires a little more than he really should. This race runs green all the way to the end. Tires are going to be a very big deal. See the 46 roll off turn number 2, second and third that far back. Pretty good gap. We're talking bus lengths at this point, not car lengths. See Will Jones, Cody Harger battling for the second spot once again. Remember, Cody did have that position. Will has worked his way around the 66. And my stream chat just went nuts. Just got 15 messages all at once. So if I haven't been responding, I haven't been ignoring you. I just didn't see them until just now. I might have a stream delay on. We had some issues with some inappropriate websites, we'll say, trying to advertise in my stream chat. So I've had to increase some of the security settings for that. Could be the reason why we've had a slow chat. But don't let that deter you. Keep saying hi. Keep checking in the messages. Tell us what's going on. Tell us what you want to see. What I'm missing. What I'm screwing up. I don't care. I can handle it. Will Jones still in the second spot, putting some distance behind him, half a second back to Cody Harger. Brian Rose still in the fourth position, running pretty well. Really along with everybody else out on the track this afternoon, keeping the cars clean and out of the fence. Jeff Napier, meanwhile, though, is hitting the pit lane. Not sure if this is scheduled service for the 40 machine. He was out back. Gonna go down a lap, maybe even 2 here. Right side's on, left side's on. Local Racing Fuel already in the machine. The 40. Jeff Napier down and away. Slow stop. 19.2 seconds for Jeff Napier in his pit stall. Mark Truxall doing the same thing, though. He's in the pit lane. We're curious to see if this is going to drag the leaders down. Don Harger intervals are up. It's just a matter of me clicking a button. Half the time I forget to do it. So there you go. Mark Truxall, 4 tires and fuel as well. Regular service for the 5 machine. Lap 43 of 125. We'll see when David Bradford hits the pit lane. So far, only 2 drivers, Mark Truxall, Jeff Napier, have done so. Alan DeFries just finishing up his pit service. 71 machine rolling back out onto the racetrack. David Bradford still pushing it. Trying to take it as far as he can. He's given up a little bit of ground. Will Jones catching the 46 just a bit. Only about a 1/10 and a half he's given up. Lap 48 going on the board for David Bradford, still leads. Teams were assigned 5 sets of tires for tonight's race this afternoon. Almost seems excessive. I know with the Next Gen Cup car, there's a bit of a pit glitch. I know they've been running extra sets just to try and avoid trouble with that because you kind of lose all your tires if it happens. But here in the ARCA series, I'm not sure. We've gone almost 50 laps here. David Bradford has yet to pit for fuel or tires. We'll still have 4 sets in the pit lane after he does, with 75 laps to go, if he pits this time by, which he doesn't. Through all that, he's actually put some more gap back to the 56 of Will Jones. That gap about 2 seconds now.
Caution's out.
And we do have a yellow. Vincent Short has crashed. Let's try and get a look, see what happened to the 15. Hateful Chicken instant replay for Eddie Rose. The 15 of Vincent Short up in the marbles a little bit. The 40 on fresh tires just makes contact. Vince locks it down pretty well. Still makes contact to the inside wall of this track. Even the straightaways are banked pretty steeply. Self-cleaning, it's going to send you down. Make contact with the inside safer barrier. So it's going to trap a few guys a lap down. Mark Truxell, Jeff Napier, Alan DeFries made their pit service during the green flag. It's going to allow our leaders to stop under the yellow, complete their pit work, and get back out there on the same lap. Lap 51, a 1:25 here at Dover International. Debbie Rose. He loves those Hateful Chicken replays. Yeah, that's why I mention it every time now, because we couldn't, we'd run a race, we wouldn't get any yellows, and he'd be hollering, hey, where's the Hateful Chicken instant replay? It's like, well, I got to have something to replay. So every time we get one, Eddie Rose, it's all for you. Bradford, Jones, Rose, and Harger all in the pits together, lined up like grandma's onions. 89 doesn't get away right away. The 46 and the 56 and the 66. Let's talk about numerology. Get away just about the same time. The Eddie Rose replay. Called the Eddie Rose replay, presented by the Hateful Chicken. So we've got some guys that decided, at least one, not to pit. The 54 of Justin Napier pulling a move that he learned from his dear old dad. Stay out and lead the lap. It's one of those Napier racing strategies. Worked out, though. Justin got a lap led, I believe, as the 40's a lap down. So, yeah, Justin's going to get some points out of that. So through all that, once again, David Bradford will not lead every lap of the race here this afternoon, as Justin does stay out, gets credit for leading a lap. Spoils the sweep, so to speak, for David Bradford. But keep in mind that if that is the trend, that's what happened at Nashville, and Bradford took home a checkered flag that night. So we're going to have to see how things shake out the rest of the afternoon here in Dover. Only 53 laps in. We've got 72 or so to go. Feel free to correct me on the math, because I don't claim to be good at that. Caution lights are out. We're going to go green the next time by. Wave around cars headed through turn 1. Forming up double file, getting ready for the restart. David Bradford, Will Jones, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Cody Harger, and Brian Rose appear to be the top 5. Impressive run so far for these guys at this track. Again, we talked about it. Everybody expecting very difficult handling conditions. Running this race during the day, of course, no lights here at Dover, so that's not even an option. Cars do handle a little better under darkness. Track temperature being lower, they do provide a little bit better grip. Tires stay lower as far as the temperature is concerned. This wasn't a challenge, it wouldn't be fun. Pace cars in the pit lane. David Bradford in the gas. Will Jones timed it perfectly with the 46. David Bradford, though, still with the advantage at the line into turn number 1. Bradford, Jones, Bobby Jr. in the 3rd spot. Cody Harger, Thomas McMullen back to 5th, side by side. Thomas McMullen and Cody Harger working into turn number 3. Thomas has got a run looking to the outside of Bobby Hamilton Jr. for the 3rd spot. Down the front stretch into turn number 1. Give the spot to Thomas McMullen. Move him up to 3rd. Impressive restart for the 0-2. Gets around Cody Harger and Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 1 lap. Brian Rose slips back to the 6th position, right in front of the 2 of Neil Quick. Not a great restart for the 89 machine. Spoke with Brian pre-race. They were in a practice session, talked to him as he got out of the car, and he was not very confident about the race here tonight. He's looked pretty good, relatively strong. He was up front the first portion of the race, but has since slipped back to the 6th position. Under pressure by the 2 of Neil Quick, possibly going to give up 6 and move him back to 7th. Keep an eye on this battle here. Neil Quick looking to the inside. Brian's not going to defend too aggressively. He's trying to bring it home. Brian has a little bit of momentum on the high side down the straightaway, but Neil Quick takes the spot, clears the 89 into turn 1. Move Neil Quick to 6th. Up front, though, we got a battle for the lead. Will Jones to the inside of David Bradford through turns 3 and 4. Might be conservation time for the 46. Let's lay off. Let's not chew up tires. No sense in battling this hard for the lead this early. We are almost to halfway, but there's still plenty of racing left. Certainly going to need to make another pit stop before we make it to the end. Bradford not giving up, though, still putting the pressure on the 56 of Will Jones. Certainly on fresh tires, these two seem to be the class of the field, though Thomas McMullen not too far back in 3rd. Just about a 6/10 of a second gap to the 0-2 machine. Bobby Hamilton Jr. 4th. Neil Quick is up to the 5th spot. So far, Neil Quick, your biggest mover of the afternoon, up 5 spots from where he started. Battle for the lead has relatively dissipated. Will Jones putting a bit of a gap on the 46. It's half a second now. David Bradford maybe just saying, you know what, time to save tires. The way this race is going, yes, we did have a caution, but it took us almost 50 laps to get one. Going back, it was lap 49 that we got the yellow, so that's a pretty good stretch here at Dover. Difficulty in handling. Tough to keep these cars underneath the driver. McMullen now under pressure from the 16 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Bobby Jr. wanting that third spot back. Bobby put the pressure on the 0-2. The 0-2 defended, and I don't know if Bobby's given another chance to cool the tires, maybe give it another run, but he's slipped back 2 to 3 car lengths from the 0-2 of Thomas McMullen. Again, still relatively early. This might be kind of a learning experience even for Bobby Hamilton Jr. See what the track's willing to give him, see what the car's willing to give him, see what he can get away with late in the race if he has to make a pass for position. How is the best way to approach it? As you see, the 16 now closes back to a car length. Thomas McMullen into turn number 1. Bobby Hamilton Jr. right there. Taking a peek to the outside, now looking low, possibly off the corner. Yep, taking a look. Maybe he's going to make the move into 3. He does. Great run off of turn number 2. Slides up in front of Thomas McMullen. Thomas slides back in behind. This has also allowed Neil Quick and Justin Napier to catch them both. Neil Quick looking strong here. Lap 71 going on the board here. Monster mile 125. Neil taking a look down low. Thomas gives him the spot. Almost made some contact, but caught it last second. Neil Quick down low. Thomas McMullen up high. Bring Justin Napier into this battle. He's going to get to the inside of the 0-2 as well. Handling on the 0-2, maybe going away. Tires getting a little bit of heat in them at this stage of the race, in this stage of the run. Justin Napier also gets by the 0-2 with Thomas McMullen. Thomas looked so strong at the initial outset of the restart. Now back in the 6th position, move Neil Quick up to 4th. Justin Napier up to the 5th spot after getting by Thomas McMullen recently. Thomas is still there, but 3 to 4 car lengths back. I think it's time to settle in, maybe cool those tires, try to get it to the end. does have Brian Rose taking a look, though. Starting to reel in the 02 himself. It's about a half-second disadvantage for the 89. That deficit to be made up. Get to the 02. Up front, though, Will Jones, a little bit more pressure now from the 46 of David Bradford. That gap just over 0.2 of a second. See Will Jones, he's swinging the right rear of that car out, at least off turn 2. I'll have to see if it happens off of 4. Bradford's keeping the right rear relatively straight on exit, so really over the course of a run, it doesn't look like much, but it's probably a foot to a foot and a half a slide on those rear tires, mainly the right rear, because that's what's loaded up. It's going to wear those tires out a little bit premature compared to the guy behind him who's not doing that. And both these guys very good, also very well versed at saving tires, but just on a visual standpoint, that's the only thing I see very different between the two lines. Take a look at it again as they exit turn number 2. Watch the 56. Looks like it gets a little loose. Now he stayed a little bit low that time. David Bradford closing the gap pretty significantly through 3 and 4. Pretty good battle here for the top spot. Will Jones in the 56, he's the leader. David Bradford in the 46 runs in the second spot. Right on board with the 46 for a couple of laps. See how he is chasing down the 56. What alternate line is he taking? It seems he's backing up his corner entry a little bit compared to Will Jones. Gets that run off. 56 still sliding out just a bit off turn number 2. I'd like to watch from this vantage point. Exit of 4. 56 slides up. Man, the middle entry to middle for the 46 is excellent through 3 and 4. See that one again. Both cars take about the same line through 1 and 2. Will drops down. Real loose off 2 again. 56 is going to burn that right rear. Great battle here for the lead. Lap 84 of 125. David Bradford trying all sorts of different lines to try and gain an advantage and get to the back bumper of the 56. Will Jones kind of doing the same to try and keep the 46 in his rearview mirror. Great battle. Going through the field once again, the 56 of Will Jones. He's your leader. Started outside pole, drifted back to about the 4th position. But since the caution and the restart, Will Jones is back out in front. David Bradford started on pole, led most of the first half of the race, first third of the race. After pit stop, still runs in the 2nd position. Neil Quick, strong performance from the number 2 machine. Started shotgun on the field, did not make a good qualifying run, was not dead last, started 11th, but he's up 8 spots from where he qualified. Bobby Hamilton Jr., not been a huge threat today. He's been up in the top 3, but that's, I think, the highest he's run. 16 Hateful Chicken Machine of Bobby Hamilton Jr. runs in the 4th spot right now. Don't count him out, though. Plenty of racing left to go. Thomas McMullen running in the 5th position. Up 3 positions from where he started. Cole Ansley in the 86, not too far behind, maybe a car length to 2. He runs 6th. Cody Harger also looks strong early, runs back in the 7th position. Again, probably saving some tires here. All these guys are all working different tire strategies. They're all going to push to a certain point, but not really until the end. They're not going to go guns a-blazing as Cody gets into the wall a little bit on the straightaway on entry. Brian Rose in the 89, having a decent, solid run here, trying to bring that car home clean. That is the most important part, but did have his time up near the front running. I think it was the 3rd position for a bit. Justin Napier, he's hitting the pit lane. I think this is another scheduled stop for the 54. Left as the 9th place machine. Mark Truxell takes that position over in the number 5. And Vincent Short, after his incident on track, did bring out our only caution so far. Still in the 10th position. Jeff Napier in the 40. He runs in the 12th spot. And Will Hewitt, I think, crashed just recently. He may be out of the session along with Alan DeFries. So before everybody decides to hit pit lane, oh, Jeff Napier in the wall a little bit right in front of Neil Quick. Neil works his way by the 40 machine of Jeff Napier. That was a close one. Go back and see what happened with Will Hewitt. Will Hewitt off turn number 2, drifting it, clips the wall real hard. Right front damage on that number 33 machine. Rides the wall down the backstretch. Looks like Will Hewitt is going to call it an afternoon. Jones and David Bradford still inseparable at the front of the field. Only about a car length between the two of them. That seems to be the biggest gap they've had in the last 20 laps or so. Tire fall off pretty significant at this point. Last lap for the leader of Will Jones, a 25-21. David Bradford, 25-14. Ironically, Neil Quick ran the exact same lap time as David Bradford. These are just under 2 seconds slower than the best laps they've turned all afternoon. At this point in the race, though, everybody can pit and make it to the end. I don't know if they're just going to wait it out, hopefully catch another caution, or they're going to do it under green. See Justin Napier, who's a lap machine, looking low. I think Justin's got fresh tires. Yeah, he did pit lap 88. 4 tires and fuel for the 54, trying to get his lap back. Justin to the inside of Will Jones. Will's not really going to fight him too hard for that. Justin Napier getting one of his laps back. I think he did lose 2 laps on that exchange. Yeah, Justin now listed as 1 lap down. So if we do get another yellow, well, he's not the first Napier a lap down, not the first machine a lap down. So I don't think he would even get the lucky dog. So he did have to fight his way back. Get around, I think, Vincent Short and Mark Truxell for that lucky dog position if the yellow were to come out. Got 26.5 laps to go here from the Monster Mile. Pit stops upcoming for the leaders still to come. Will Jones, David Bradford, Neil Quick, Bobby Jr., Cody Harger, the top 5. Thomas McMullen runs 6th, and 7th is Brian Rose, the last car on the lead lap. Top 4 spread out pretty good. Bobby Hamilton Jr. just getting off turn number 2 as the leader gets into 3. Full straightaway advantage back to the 4th position. 26 to go here from Dover. Last pit for the leaders was lap 51 when the caution came out. would be lap 50 on this set of tires. I gotta say, Will Jones is looking pretty strong on this long run. Still running real loose off turn number 2, though. Burning up that right rear. I don't know how he's doing it, but... "23 laps to go. Leaders are going to have to pit at least one more time before it's all said and done. I feel the later this goes, the more the advantage could go to the 46. David Bradford seemed awful fast on a fresh set of tires. Do either one of these guys gamble and take 2? I don't know. As bad as this place chews up the tires in these ARCA cars, I don't know if that's advised or if anybody's even practiced it. It certainly throws the handling off in a big way in doing so. Could be a gamble to take. We'll have to see. Leaders stay out again, coming to the line. We've got 20 laps to go here from Dover, Delaware. Superior Class Auto Racing ARCA Series. Monster Mile 125 is almost to its end. One more stop to go here for our leaders, I can only assume. Will Jones now putting a bit of a gap on the 46 to David Bradford. It's up to 0.6 of a second. Not sure if David is anticipating the 56 machine to pit here soon. Doesn't want to run into the back of him or be surprised. Right on board with Will Jones, coming to 17 laps to go. Now I'm starting to wonder, can these guys even make it all the way to the end on just that one stop? Didn't get a fuel window update pre-race, so maybe it's possible. "15 laps to go for Will Jones. It's interesting. We saw guys early on in the race, before the yellow even came out, hitting pit lane in that 40 lap mark. I'm not sure what the reason for it was, because it seems like, I mean, we're at 65 laps since the last stop for the leaders at this point, so they certainly could have gone further. I see Brian Rose has pit. Lap 105 for Brian Rose. It puts him down a lap. Almost got to wonder, is Brian Rose trying to work an undercut here because these guys are waiting so long to pit. Brian Rose with the fresh tires now can really hustle it around the track. It's almost a 2-second advantage to go out there with fresh tires. The leaders do pit 4 tires. It cycles back. Could move Brian Rose up near the front. We're going to have to see. 13 to go. Cole Ansley in the 86. He's a lap machine, but got fresh rubber. Gonna make short work of the leaders here to get himself a lap back. See Brian Rose also doing the same. Fresh tires for the 89, moving a lot quicker than the leaders. Getting a lap back on his own, doing it the hard way. Got 9 laps to go here from Dover. The Monster Mile 125 nearing its conclusion. Some questions about the leaders and will they need to pit before this is all said and done. It seems like half the field has chosen to pit. We're back to the 6th position though. Everybody pit there. 1st to 6th. Lap 51 was the last time these guys got fuel and tires. I really don't know if fuel is enough. Tires maybe, I don't know. It's such a big question. You've got half the field decided they needed to pit and the other half is making it work. Little wiggle out of the 56 off turn number 2, loose once again. Will Jones driving that number 56 machine for all it's worth. Gap back to David Bradford just under a full second at this point. Jeff Napier exiting pit lane after some fresh tires as well. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. has been in the wall. 5 to go. Let's see. Caution is out. I don't know if Bobby Hamilton Jr. lost a right front tire, what happened with the 16, but it certainly appears right front failure on the 16 machine. Trying to keep it out of traffic. Spins it down to the inside in front of Vince Short. Collects the inside wall. So there is the caution. We've got 4 laps to go. Top 5. All on very old tires. This will no doubt be a overtime finish, green, white, checkered. So I guess the question remains, do they pit? There's only 5 cars on the lead lap at this point, so there's not a whole lot to lose. Will Jones down low, enters the pit lane. David Bradford goes with. Looks like the whole top 5 is going to get fresh tires to make it the finish here so they can really hustle these cars, not have to baby those Goodyear Eagles. Don't miss the box. Don't speed on entry. Don't speed on exit. 4 on, 4 off. 4 off, 4 on. Will Jones beats David Bradford out, not by much. So this is it. 3 laps to go. Once we go back to green, it'll be a green, a white, and a checkered. A few wave around cars in front of the 56 that will get the wave around at the 1 to go. We're going to have a shootout between David Bradford and Will Jones. Let's not count out Neil Quick. He looked very, very strong mid to late in the race. No one needs to worry about tires at this point. Just go out there and get all you can get. Full send. It's like Justin Napier, Bobby Jr., Brian Rose stopping for another set of tires. Again, they've got him in the pit lane. You might as well. You're not going to lose a whole lot of spots to this point. I believe Justin Napier is a lead lap vehicle. Yeah, looks like Justin got his lap back. There you see it, folks. The yellow lights are off. We'll be going green this time by to settle it here from the Monster Mile. Will Miles the Monster rear his ugly head and take these guys out, or will they make it home to the finish clean? Have to stick around and find out. See Cody Harger in the 66 trying to get some heat into those brand new Goodyear Eagles. Optimum for these tires seem to be about 2 laps in, so it's going to be pretty much over before we get a chance, but everybody's on equal footing, at least up here in the front. Pace car in the pit lane. Will Jones goes, the 56 fires off. Slides up the track in front of the 46. Green flag in the air. Thomas McMullen looking to the inside of David Bradford. Good restart once again by the 0-2 of Thomas McMullen. He showed that at the end of the last caution as well. Very fast to fire off. David Bradford fighting back to the inside. This is going to help secure a victory for the 56. White flag in the air for Will Jones. We see the 0-2 and the 46 still battling here. Will Jones off turn number 2 for the final time. Cody Harger wrecks in the backstretch. Does not get collected. Will Jones is going to have this one well in hand. The 56 Nation Guard Chevrolet off turn number 4. He's going to win the Monster Mile 125. Thomas McMullen will bring home the 2nd spot. David Bradford is 3rd. Neil Quick is 4th. And Justin Napier brings home the Hateful Chicken number 54 home to a top 5. Will Jones, your winner. Thomas McMullen, second. David Bradford, the top three. We're going to step away for just a moment, and we'll be right back with our top three interviews. Well, it appears I lost the video feed, but I think we're still live. Give me just a moment here. We'll see if we can pull this back up. There we go. I think we got it. All right. So let's go first to Will Jones, our winner here in the Monster Mile 125. Will Jones, it's Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. Do you got a copy, Will?
Yes, sir.
Will, congratulations on the victory. You played it safe earlier on, conserved some tire. I know we had a restart, but man, you guys went a long ways on a set of tires. Tell us how you made that work for you.
I tried to save all I could. I know David; he was putting pressure on me, trying to get me to, to push the issue, and luckily, I was able to hold enough to not have a blowout. But I think Bobby had a blowout. But yeah, it was fun. Just a long runs, man, long runs, and just trying to be as patient as I could. And David, he get bigger in my mirror, and then I try to push a little bit harder, which probably ain't the thing to do, but it worked out for us.
Now, I know we ended up getting that caution with about 4 to go. Was there enough fuel to make it all the way to the end without that?
Yeah, we had enough fuel, but I don't know if we had enough tire. I only had like 10% left on my right front.
Could have been very interesting. The caution certainly saved everybody from chaos, it sounds like. Congratulations on the victory, Will. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, thank the guys here at the SCAR, putting the league on. Good group of guys, fast drivers. I'm glad to be back. Dover just kind of fits in my wheelhouse here, man. I'd like to thank y'all for the broadcast. Y'all do an excellent job. And thanks for all the fans watching.
Well, once again, Will, congratulations. That's win number 2 across 2 series since your return. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the Cup race.
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
It's Will Jones, everyone, your winner in the number 56 machine here at Dover this afternoon. Next up, we'll go to our second place finisher, Thomas McMullen. It's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got to.
Thomas McMullen, second spot, quietly worked your way back up. I got to say, you were amazing on restarts here tonight. 2 different opportunities on those restarts. You fired off really, really well. Here in the last restart, you get by David Bradford, who was right up front all race long, either first or second, and you bring home the second spot. Tell us the secret on those restarts.
There really isn't one that I can think of off the top of my head. It's just, I mean, you can't go until the car in front of you goes. And I watched the 56 take off, and David didn't, so I just pointed the nose to the inside and pulled up alongside him. I was careful not to pass him before we crossed the start finish there, and by the time we got into 1 and 2, I got around him.
Well, either way, it certainly looked impressive. A pretty good battle there with the green-white checker between yourself and David Bradford. Relatively clean, I assume. We were trying to watch you and the leader, Will Jones, at the same time. But any issues between you and David?
There was one time we came off of two. It may have been coming back to the checkered flag, and I was kind of wondering if he was going to wash up into me, and we talked about that here in the room while you were interviewing Will, and I was kind of gritting my teeth a little bit when we came off the corner a little bit, but David, he's a seasoned veteran of not just this league but sim racing period, and he's if there's a car beside you, if there's a car that you want to have beside you, going into a corner, and when you're racing hard, he's probably it. He's probably going to pass you, but he's very seldom going to make a mistake and get into you. So, there's I have a lot of respect for him. He's one of the best. Same goes for Will, and there's so me and we're all on good terms up here.
Thomas McMullen splits it down the middle between Will Jones and David Bradford. I'd say you're pretty good yourself. Before we let you move on here and start looking at tomorrow's race at Kansas in the Cup Series, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, Splash and Go Graphics, Murder Creek Distillery, and Next Generation Fishing Charters. Of course, you guys for broadcasting these races. Y'all do a phenomenal job. And then the Hateful Chicken for all that they do for the league. I just want to say thanks to everybody for making this what it is. I mean, it's a blast every time I get in here. Hopefully, when we go to Kansas tomorrow night, I can advance one more position. This is a nice little run of second place finishes we've had, but I'm ready to win another one.
Good points day is one thing, but he wants that checkered flag. Congratulations, Thomas. We'll keep an eye out for you tomorrow in Kansas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thomas McMullen, everyone, the second place finisher here this afternoon of the Monster Mile 125. Last but not least, let's go to David Bradford, our third place finisher. David Bradford, it's Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Well, David, congratulations on the third place run. I thought you at least had second locked up. The first third of the race, I thought you had another win in hand. But tell us about your afternoon.
Well, like you said, the first third went really good. We were just starting to talk about making green flag pit stops, and something happened. Someone wrecked somewhere, and so that took that out of the equation. I felt like that would have made a much better race if we could have made green flag pit stops and see where everybody cycled out. And then once we got to the second portion, Will got the lead from me on the restart, and it felt like every time I could get to him, a lap car would get in the way or something weird would happen. I just couldn't make a really good run at him. There'd be a couple of laps where I'd be up his bumper, but it just seemed like it was really bad timing for me with the lap cars coming back up through there on new tires. And once I lost that second to him, I was like, yeah, it's over at this point. I'm just gonna ride and hope I make it. And then the caution came out, and I missed the restart by a mile. I mean, not much more you can do about that besides try and get it back, and I couldn't get it back.
Well, that said, tires certainly came into play. Will Jones, when we interviewed him, mentioned that he only had about 10% tire left when that final caution did come out. Do you think that you guys could have made it to the finish without that yellow? We were going to be losing some tires. I know Bobby Jr. put it in the fence to bring out that yellow with a right front failure. How do you feel like yours were?
Honestly, Steve, I've never been down to 8%. That's what I was down to at the end was 8%. And I don't know if it was going to go 5 more laps, but I was definitely going to make it try. And, them kind of races, you see the strategy playing out. You kind of wish it would go green and see who does what. I know Justin had new tires and was waiting on it. And I know Brian had new tires and was waiting on it. But just one of them things, man. We were up there, me and Will, really just challenging the hell out of each other and racing the hell out of each other. It may have looked a little boring on the screen, but I promise you we were wheeling it every lap.
No, it certainly looked entertaining to watch the battle between yourself and Will Jones. There was no shortage of that as far as the action was concerned. Not a lot going elsewhere. Everybody got strung out pretty well, but yourself and Will right there for most of the race. Congratulations on another top 3 finish here in the ARCA series. Fortunately, it's not the win that you've been used to. Are you going to be around for tomorrow at Kansas?
As long as the wife don't have the baby tomorrow, I'll be around for Kansas. But yeah, I should be there. Should be entertaining. I actually get to qualify this week, so that's fun. Well, I get to qualify every week, but I actually get to keep my starting spot. But then I'll go back after the end of the first stage, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of race is going on and if I can work my way back up through there. I kind of feel like we're all going to get up against the top again, and it'll be a tough race to pass. Man, just have to see how it goes. Try and make some moves, I guess.
Well, David Bradford on baby watch still. See what happens between now and tomorrow. Hopefully get the race in, and if not, well, either way, congratulations on being a dad again. Before we let you slide, though, who do you have to thank?
Definitely got to thank everybody watching. Dad, George, Bill Michaud's out there watching tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys giving me this paint job. Shame I couldn't put it in victory lane again, but, I'll take that points lead. And definitely got to thank everybody, Anheuser-Busch and the Hateful Chicken, for helping us put this on. Bobby and Cody, they do a great job. I mean, whatever I left them for the league, or not left them, but they've improved on everything I've done. They found the little faults that we had, and they've improved on it, and they've done a good job.
Well, David, thank you again. Congratulations on the third place finish, and good luck tomorrow at Kansas.
Thanks, Steve.
It's David Bradford, your third place finisher here tonight in the Monster Mile 125. That's going to wrap things up for us here in Dover, Delaware. Thank you all for joining us. Before we let everybody go, we're going to go over race results here. Since we do have them, we might as well take a look. Official results, Will Jones, of course, your winner. Thomas McMullen brings home the Murder Creek Distillery number 02, home in second spot once again. David Bradford finishes the race in third. Neil Quick, a strong finish for Neil. He finishes fourth. Looks like Neil may have been our biggest mover of the evening, finishing 7 spots higher than where he qualified. Thomas McMullen could have done the same if he had pulled off a victory, but only 6-spot improvement for the 02. Finishing fifth was Justin Napier, the Hateful Chicken, number 54. Cody Harger, after a wreck on the late restart, still finishes in the 6th position. Bobby Hamilton Jr. finishes 7th. Brian Rose brings home the 89 in 8th. Colt Ansley is 9th. Vincent Short finishes 10th. Jeff Napier is 11th. Mark Truxell finishes 12th. Will Hewitt 13th after a crash. And Alan DeFries did not see his incident, but I think he did have a crash as well. He will finish 14th, 66 laps down. So before we let everybody go, we've got some people that we need to thank. Of course, the Hateful Chicken for being a major sponsor in this entire league, whether it's ARCA, Super Late Model, or the Cup Series. Certainly appreciate their participation and assistance in being a partner with the Superior Class Auto Racing League. And of course, Whiplash Media for providing custom cameras for most of our Cup events for sure, and even a couple of our ARCA and Super Late Model events as well. So thank you to Whiplash Media. If you need custom cams for your stream, find them, Whiplash Media on Facebook. And lastly, thank you all for tuning in to the stream, supporting us and being here every week and chatting me up here in the stream chat. If you haven't already done so, I'm sure most of you or all of you have already done it, but please like, share, subscribe, YouTube, Holler Boys Racing TV, and Facebook.com/Holler Boys Racing TV. You'll get all the updates. You'll be notified when we go live. All the good stuff. We even put a couple of oddball posts in there every now and again, if it's so warranted. Again, thank you very much. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow from Kansas Speedway.